It's Platt, and today I drink a Sea Monster. That's next to Platt's Beer of the Week. So the particular beer we have today is called Sky Kraken. Comes to us from the fine folks at Fremont Brewing. For those of you who are not familiar, a kraken, or the kraken, however you want to put it, is a mythical sea creature. Dates back to, pirate lore in the 17 and 1800s or whatever. It was a kind of hybrid between a giant octopus and some kind of sea monster or whatever. Today, Kraken is the name of the NHL team in Seattle, where Fremont's located, thus Sky Kraken. A little background into Fremont Brewing. Fremont Brewing was founded by a married couple, Matt Lincecum and his wife Sarah Wilson. They opened the brewery in 2009 in the Fremont area of Seattle. Their company logo is "Because Beer Matters." And I don't think I can argue with that. A little background on the couple. Matt himself was an environmentalist, worked as an attorney in the beverage industry, and was also a home brewer. Sarah has a PhD in cultural anthropology. She worked with the Seattle City Council for a while. And today she is on the Government Affairs Committee of the National Brewers Association. So definitely the definition of a power couple in the craft brewing scene for sure. One of the first things they did at Fremont Brewing, and was part of their core belief, with Matt being an environmentalist, they really wanted to have a very environmental friendly brewery. And in 2011, they installed a rainwater harvesting system. They were the first brewery in Seattle to do that. With the captured rainwater, they use it to brew beer and also to water the hops that they grow in the garden nearby or whatever. So kind of a cool little story there, and again, kind of works with the core values. In 2012, they released their first bourbon barrel-aged beer. It was known as Bourbon Abominale. It's like the abominable snowman, but Abominale, if you kind of get the verbal pun. A couple of years later, in 2014, they released their first sour beer. Hopefully I'm saying this right there, Interbron Apricot. A couple more years later down the line, in 2016, they finally got into the canned beer thing. That's about the time Dale's Pale Ale was really taking off, and craft had started moving to cans. So in 2016, they moved to can, and their first canned beer was their Universal Pale Ale instead of Universal and Universal Pale Ale. And that was their first canned beer. As far as the brewery itself, over the years, the original brewery came with a 15-barrel brew system. Their capacity, I think that first year or so, was around 1,000 barrels annually. Over the years, they've added additional capacity with more fermenters, what have you. But they eventually outgrew that original brewery, and they went down the road a little bit and opened a production facility. They refer to that as Fremont West. The old brewery with the tap room and kind of the more customer-facing end is known as Fremont East. Now, Fremont West, they installed an 80-barrel brewing system and the appropriate fermentation vessels, and they have greatly increased their production capacity to meet their ever-growing demand for their beers. Which, let's talk about some of those beers. First is called Lush, 7% ABV. This is an IPA. This is probably their flagship beer. Not too long ago, they recently signed a deal with Alaskan Airlines, and I believe this beer now is available on their flights. That is huge for a craft brewery to get into a major airline like that. This beer also won gold at this year's World Beer Championship, so perfectly positioned to be a flagship beer. Next is an interesting beer for me anyway. It's called the Rusty Nail, 13.6% ABV. This is an oatmeal stout that is barrel aged and brewed with licorice. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar, a Rusty Nail is a classic old cocktail. It's a Scotch-based cocktail made with Drambuie, which is a Scotch-based liqueur. So if you like Scotch, you might like a Rusty Nail. But I definitely want to keep my eye out for that beer. Next, we have a beer called Trail Magic, 4.2% ABV. This is an easy drinking lager. This is a collaboration with not another brewery, but a couple of different entities. First, REI, the outdoor sporting good retailer, and the Washington Trail Association. If you see the cover of the beer and kind of the marketing behind it, kind of implies a nice hike along a mountain stream or a lake or whatever, and you do a couple of miles, you've earned the right for a nice easy drinking lager, thus trail magic. Finally, we have Beauregard, 5.6% ABV. This is a golden sour ale flavored with blueberries. This is part of what they call their black heron line, not black heroin, black heron line. The heron, more specifically the great blue heron, is the official bird of Seattle. It's an indigenous bird, and it's also the logo for the brewery. So they've come up with this black heron line of beers, more experimental. They're brewed at the old facility. I believe they're fermented in oak containers. They may spend some time in a barrel. Again, kind of an experimental line of beers. Well, before we try this particular beer, though, let's check out the stats. So today, real quick, I thought I'd talk about Seattle and the brewing scene. I've never made it to Seattle, not as an adult, I drove through as a kid. But I'm dying to get up there, and when I do, there's some breweries I want to hit. So today I thought about talking about some of the breweries I want to hit if I ever make it to Seattle. And if you get up there, give them a try. Let me know what you think. First is Elysian Brewing. Elysian's probably one of the bigger breweries up there. I believe now it's part of the AB InBev, family. But they produce a really cool line of beers. One of my favorites is called Dank Dust. It literally smells like cannabis. It's that danky or The sister beer Space Dust is a really nice hoppy IPA. They also are the ones who produce the Def Leppard Ale. Both those beers we tried before as part of the Platt Beer of the Week. Like I said, fan of Elysian. Next is Georgetown Brewing. They have a beer that is worth the Uber ride just because of the name. They're Johnny Utah Pale Ale, for all of you that love the old classic Point Break. Not the new terrible redo, but the old one with Patrick Swayze, or Johnny Utah. They also have their 9-pound porter. I like dark beer, so I definitely keep my eye out for that. Next we have Stoup Brewing. Hopefully I said that right. S-T-O-U-P Brewing. Probably their most popular beer might be their Citra IPA. Classic Northwestern style beer using a classic Northwestern style hop. Just screams the Northwest. They do produce another beer that to me would be worth the Uber ride out wherever they are. They do a dark American wheat. Now that style in Germany is called a Dunkelweizen. And we have wheat beers in the U.S. We have our Blue Moons, we have our Goose Islands, what have you. But you don't see a lot of dark wheat beers, and I think that'd be cool just to give that a try, because I do like a Dunkelweizen. I do like that style. The darker lagers, I really appreciate that. Lastly is the folks at Family Urban Brewing. One of the smaller ones as far as major Seattle breweries go, but really coming out with some cool stuff. A couple beers to keep an eye out for. They're Guava Dawn Sour. And the name got me on this one. The Muffin Top Breakfast Stout. Just the visuals, just muffin top, just kind of really sticks out. And again, I like dark beers, so that would work out. Well, enough about Seattle breweries. Let's try Seattle beer. Well, it's a hazy IPA, and it is hazy, so about a finger width of a really nice, light, white, foamy head. Let's go in the nose. Oh, man, the hops are right there. Not too over the top. You also catch a slight bit of malt, or that malt hop kind of interaction. But just a real nice, fresh-smelling beer. Let's give it a try. You know what? Not too bad. Kind of a lighter bodied, and this is a hazy pale ale. This is not a hazy IPA, so the body's going to be a little lighter, a little lower in alcohol, a little less malt. Real nice, easy drinking though. I think we're at 5.5% ABV, so we're kind of leaving that session area, but still something you could crush. I get 5.5 is still probably crushable. Yeah, to me, this would be a real nice beer. If I'm at the ballpark up in Seattle watching a Mariners game, if they got the roof back, you know, it's one of those just real nice sunny days they get every once in a while up there. This would be a nice beer for that. Goes down easy. I'm not going to say anything about it is incredible, but just well executed all the way through. Just a nice, easy drinking beer. Not every beer has to challenge your palate. So, but overall, nice, well executed beer. Definitely has me where now I would like to check out some of the other beers because, you know, this, like I said, just seems well executed. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or beers that you'd like me to try, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.